What is a rational number? Well, a rational number is a number that can be written as a ratio of two integers, A and B, where B is not 0. So A over B. So a ratio is a fraction. It's a comparison of two numbers. Okay. So write each rational number as a decimal, and that's really important because most of the time we use the decimal system over the fraction system. So for example, 3/4, when we say 3/4 of a dollar, when we write that down, we usually write it as 75 cents. So here you can see that we usually use money in decimal form. So let's change 5/16 into a decimal number. Well, let's think about what this means. This is like having $5 split into 16 ways evenly. So 5 divided by 16, because fractions are really division problems. So 5 divided by 16, notice how it is written here to here. Okay, so the first thing I'm asking myself is how many groups of 16 are there in 5? There are no groups of 16 and 5, not whole groups. So whenever I'm going to do long division, if I'm not really good with my multiplication facts, I'm going to come down and I'm going to write all my groups of 16 out. Well, not all of them, but I'm going to write several groups of 16 out so that I can divide evenly. So right now, I want you to stop the video and I want you to write out your groups of 16 and then come back. Okay, I'm back. I've written out my groups of 16. Okay, so back to our problem. I've got $5 and I need to split it 16 ways evenly. So maybe it was $5 to do something and there were 16 of us, and so we all want to pitch in the same amount of money. So I need to divide that up evenly. Well, I know there are no groups of 16 and 5, so at this, I'm going to put a decimal point and I'm going to raise the roof with that decimal point and add at least 1 0 for now. So now I'm going to ask myself, how many groups of 16 are there in 50? Well, there are 3 groups of 16 in 50 from my groups over here, because I know that 3 groups of 16 are 48, with 2 left over. Notice that I put a 0 there. I should have done that at first because I know there are no groups of 16 and 5, so I could go to the next number. Okay, so I have 2 left over. As long as I have something left over, I have to keep adding a 0 and bringing it down. Now I ask myself, how many groups of 16 are in 20? There's 1 group of 16 in 20, with 4 left over. So I still have leftovers, so I want to add a 0 and bring it down. Now I ask myself, how many groups of 16 are in 40? There are 2 groups of 16 in 40. 2 times 16 is 32. 2 groups of 16 are 32. There's 8 left over. Now I'm going to add another 0 and bring it down. So I ask myself, how many groups of 16 are there in 80? There are 5 groups of 16 in 80 evenly. And now that I don't have any left over, I am done. So 5/16 is equivalent to 0.3125. Okay, now let's see how to write a mixed number as a decimal. Remember, a mixed number has a whole number and fraction part. The whole number is what comes before the decimal. The fraction part is what comes behind the decimal. So let's look at 6 and 1/3. 6 and 1/3. 6 is in front of the decimal. So I know this is going to be 6 point something, whatever that 1/3 turns out to be in decimal form. So recall the example before. I have one thing, like $1, and I need to split it 3 equal ways. So I have one thing that needs to be split 3 equal ways. Notice what this and this look like. Okay, so I'm going to take my divisor and I'm going to go ahead and write down all the multiples of that divisor, all my groups of 3. So stop the video, write down your groups of 3, and then come back. Okay, so I have all my groups of 3 written down, my multiples of 3, well not all of them, I mean you could say all, have many of them, okay? That makes dividing easier. So I'm going to ask myself, how many groups of 3 are there in 1? Or what is 1 divided by 3? Can't do that. There are no groups of 3 in 1. So I'm going to place a decimal behind the 1. I'm going to raise the roof. And I'm going to add at least 1 0. Now remember, there were no groups of 3 in 1. So now I'm looking at this 10. How many groups of 3 are there in 10? There are 3 groups of 3. Because 3 groups of 3 gives me 9. But I have 1 left over. So as long as I have something left over, I have to write the 0 and bring it down. Then I'm going to ask myself again, how many groups of 3 are there in 10? 3 groups of 3. 3 times 3 is 9. With 1 left over. So I have something left over. I have a 1 left over. I'm going to add a 0 and bring it down. So I'm going to ask myself, how many groups of 3 are there in 10? There are 3 groups of 3 in 10, because that is 9. You see how many times I repeated the exact same thing? How many groups of 3 are in 10? How many groups of 3 are in 10? How many groups of 3 are in 10? I did that 3 times. That is what is called a repeating decimal. I just repeated myself 3 times. Once you can determine that you are repeating yourself, then you can stop dividing, because it is a repeating decimal that will go on forever to infinity. So I can stop and I can write that as 3, 3 with the repeating bar over the 3s.